at it from a logical perspective, although you could say, well, yeah, but a bag's 30 grand. So, I mean, if it's 30 grand, maybe they actually are manufacturing it using French nationals who are getting free medical care and, paid for education and all these things. So, yeah, I mean, I guess you could assume that, certainly. But profits over people, I think, always motivate the West. And it's highly unlikely, when we just look at the facts of it, it's highly unlikely that they're being mass produced in these European countries. It's most likely they're being designed in those countries, shipped off to China for manufacturing, sent back to the countries for the finishing touches, and then sold to us at enormous hikes, with enormous price hikes. Another video that is circulating around right now
There's
is this.
Little evidence of a trade war at the Jiahao Flag Company in Anhui Province. Workers bustle and sewing machines hum.
Yeah.
A current hot seller, blue and white banners declaring the centerpiece of Trump's re-election.
So this is an older video, but showing that even the Trump merch for his campaigns have been made in China. So this is also circulating around right now. And China now has even created an entire new industry around the tariffs. This is a woman speaking about how you, as an American consumer, can get around the tariffs.
How do we profit under a 145% U.S. tariffs? Smuggling? No, a safer and more legal method than smuggling. Personal shopping service. You can travel to China, act as an agent to purchase products for your American friends and clients, and then avoid that tariff by declaring them as personal items when you return to the U.S., thus earning a high profit margin. Want to learn more? Follow me. I'm a Chinese freight forwarding agent. For more details, please visit GoNest.
Okay, so this would be a whole new industry that's being opened up. Like, you can now travel to China, buy the goods, and bring them back as personal items, and then sell them in the United States for more. I don't know how feasible that is. I mean, I don't know how much a plane ticket is to China and how much you can actually bring back in personal items, but certainly this would encourage travel to China. This encourages people to go there, load up on goods, bring them back. Maybe people would go and get their own stuff, and whether they sell it or not, it does encourage tourism now to China. So that's kind of one of the backfires, I guess, that we could see from the tariff war. This last video I want to show you before we really break down what's happening and whether or not this tariff war, trade war is even going to work. This is a post from a Chinese national saying, you guys are all blaming China, you're blaming us, but it's really your own fault, and America now needs a revolution.
They rob you blind, and you thank them for it. That's a tragedy. That's a scam. That's why I'm saying this right now. Americans, you don't need a tariff. You need a revolution. For decades, your government and oligarchs ship your job to China, not for diplomacy, not for peace, but to exploit cheap laborers. And in the process, they hollowed out your middle class, crushed your working class, and told you to be proud while they sold your future for profit. And yes, China made money, but we used it to build roads, lift millions out of poverty, fund healthcare, raise living standard. We reinvested in our people. My family also benefited from it. What did your oligarchs do? They bought yachts, private jets, mansions with golf course driveways. They manipulate the market, dodged tax, and poured billions into endless wars. And you get stagnated wages, crippling healthcare cost, cheap dopamine, debt, and flagged wave property made in China while they pick your pocket. For 40 years, both China and the United States benefit from the trade, the manufacturing, but only one of us use that wealth to build. This isn't China's fault. This is yours. You let this happen. You let the oligarchs feed you lies while they made you fat, poor, and addicted. Now they blame China for mess they made. I don't think so. I don't think you need another tariff. You need to wake up. You need to take your country back. I think you need a revolution.
Now, he has a point. We've been hearing for years now that China is cheating, that they've rigged the system, broken the rules, stolen their way to prosperity. You'll hear terms like forced technology transfers, intellectual property theft, state subsidies, dumping, currency manipulation. And yes, these are serious issues. But if we really want to understand what happened over the last 30 years, why America lost millions of good-paying jobs, why our infrastructure is collapsing, why theirs is rising, why China now leads the world in manufacturing EVs and high-speed rail, we need to look past the slogans and ask the uncomfortable question, is China really cheating, or did our own elites simply sell us out? For years, foreign companies wanting to access to the Chinese market had to partner with Chinese firms and share their proprietary technology. That's called a forced technology transfer. Critics say this gave China an unfair advantage, but let's be honest, no one was forced. Western firms wanted a slice of the biggest market on earth. They willingly traded tech for profits. And China said, we'll let you in, but you have to teach us how to build. And we said, yes, over and over and over again, because our CEOs weren't thinking 20 years ahead. They were thinking about their next quarterly earnings call. Yes, there's IP theft, there's hacking, there's state support, but let's not pretend we're innocent. The U.S. runs its own espionage operations. We've interfered in governments around the world. And when it comes to subsidies, the U.S. subsidizes agriculture, defense, oil and gas, Wall Street bailouts, and now tech firms under the CHIPS Act. We don't admit it. China does it openly because their system, the economy serves the nation. In our system, the economy serves shareholders. Currency manipulation? Well, that was true 20 years ago, but not anymore. China's actually spent the last decade propping up its currency to maintain stability. And non-tariff barriers, yes, China plays protectionist games, but so does everyone else, including us. We ban chip sales, restrict Huawei, embargo countries, and rewrite financial regulations to serve American interests. The reality is this. China didn't steal our prosperity. Our own elites gave it away. They pushed for China's entry into the WTO. They offshored factories, dismantled unions, and told American workers to learn to code. The steel towns collapsed. The textile mills vanished. The auto parts industry got hollowed out. But the Dow Jones hit record highs, and that's all that mattered. And what did China do with its surplus? It didn't hand out stock buybacks. It didn't pump the money into speculative finance. It built high-speed rail, smart cities, new energy grids, entire industries from scratch. And what did we do? Well, we built financial bubbles. We gutted public schools. We defunded infrastructure. We gave tax cuts to the ultra wealthy and told everyone else to tighten their belts. And now we think tariffs are going to fix this? Tariffs are like putting duct tape on a collapsing bridge. They raise prices, disrupt supply chains, and they invite retaliation. They don't build new factories. They don't create a workforce. They don't fix our broken system. At best, they're a pause button. But we don't need a pause. We need a reset. The only way forward is to rebuild this country from the ground up. That means a national industrial policy, one that actually names strategic sectors and invests in them long term. That means infrastructure on the scale of the New Deal, not pothole patchwork. It means vocational training, apprenticeships, and skilled labor being treated with the respect it deserves. It means breaking up the monopolies, punishing offshoring, banning stock buybacks, and rewarding companies that build here, hire here, and stay here. But instead of doing that, instead of focusing on America, what are we doing? We're talking about war with Iran. We're dropping bombs on Yemen. We're spending billions, waging proxy wars on behalf of a foreign government while our own cities look like war zones. We're pushing endless military aid packages, inflaming global tensions, and marching toward another conflict that has nothing to do with the American people and everything to do with the interests of defense contractors and their lobbyists. And when we're not trying to start a war, we're fantasizing about expanding our empire, making Canada a U.S. state, buying Greenland, stationing troops on every continent, guarding pipelines and mineral routes while our own border is a disaster and our veterans sleep in tents. This isn't America first. This is empire first, globalism first, elites first. If we really believed in putting America first, we wouldn't be policing the world. We'd be rebuilding our country. We'd have the best rail in the world, the cleanest water, the strongest power grid, the most resilient supply chains, the best educated workforce, the most secure borders. But we don't, because our leaders aren't interested in America as a nation. They're interested in America as an empire, a brand, a vehicle for wealth extraction. And that's the greatest betrayal of all. Because China is playing for China, acting in its own self-interest. Our ruling class is acting in their interest, not yours, not mine, not the country's. So no, the real problem isn't that China is cheating. The real problem is we've been lied to by the people who sold us a dream they never believed in, who hollowed out our middle class, who told us it was normal to work 3 jobs and still be broke, who mocked the idea of rebuilding this country while cashing checks from companies that sent your job to another continent. They handed China the blueprints. They signed the deals. They wrote the trade laws. And now they want to blame the people who took advantage of the opportunity they created? No, that's not cheating. That's smart. Ruthless, yes. Strategic, absolutely. But we should be taking notes, not throwing tantrums. If we want to win again, we don't need more sanctions. We need more engineers. We don't need more aircraft carriers. We need more factories. We don't need another $1 trillion war. We need a $1 trillion investment in America, in workers, in cities, in families, in sovereignty. You want America to be great again? Then build. Stop chasing wars. Stop chasing distractions. Stop chasing empire. Bring it home and start again. That's the real America first. And it's the only way forward. Thanks for watching this clip from the full Kim Iversen show.
3连关注，点赞也行。